Hey there, if you listen to the show all the time, you know that I'm constantly working on things, testing, building, breaking things, fixing it, and what have you. So recently I have been testing and changing a whole bunch of things, and I broke my entire tech stack and it was a complete mess. I've got a few gray hairs this week. However, it has been fun just problem solving, putting things back together, using quote unquote AI, GPT, and all this stuff to get things rolling. So I'm going to give you a little update on that, a little behind the scenes, what's going on here, and how this stuff can actually apply to whatever it is that you're doing and building in the future. And hopefully you'll just learn from my mistakes. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So, a little behind the scenes as to what's going on here. So you know that I put out that offer telling people that I have looking to really work with a group of 100 people that want to build. You might not be a coder such as myself, but guess what? Through this show, you can then leverage everything that's going on and we can work together, build together, learn together, and so forth. Anywho, thank you for showing interest. Those of you that have asked questions, emails, DMs, bought in. Awesome. Cool. I built out the funnel, had everything up running, started showing it to people, started promoting it. Obviously, the last few episodes that I did speak about it, I put that into the show notes and everything. Then I decided to start to run ads to it, right? I said, all right, I'm going to promote this thing because no one's seeing what I'm putting out on X and what's going on. So let me just put together some ads going back to my marketing days, right? So I create the ads, I put this stuff up, and I'm feeding the traffic, if you will, to it. I realized that it's just not doing so well. The numbers that I would expect it to do, it's just not hitting it. Of course, I decided to do a little tweaking around, do some variations, of course, split testing. If you're doing anything with building, marketing, trying to get things out, it could be a lot of different things why your thing is not working. Let me just use something very simple. Say, for example, you're putting out content, right? It just might be something as simple as the headline. Changing the headline, all of a sudden, everyone thinks it's the greatest thing ever. Why? The headline didn't catch their attention the first time around, so they never saw the article. Whether you're building a platform, what you name it, slightest little thing like the color, where the button placement is, all these different things could be make and break. You might think that your idea is absolutely terrible and no one cares about it, and you just found out that, you know what? The button placement was just too far down the page. No one read that far. So if you move up the button and put it at the top of the page, guess what? People sign up for this thing. They downloaded it. They wanted it, but guess what? You just didn't give them the opportunity to. They stopped the scroll. Maybe the page wasn't loading quick enough and they just got bored and just went somewhere else. Split testing this stuff is how you figure out how this stuff works. So anyways, I started to run the traffic to it and I'm like, okay, this is really not working. Let me try to put up a different variation. In the process, someone DMs me and says, hey, why is it that you're not offering crypto payments? And okay, the initial reason why is because I have a money back guarantee. And I just couldn't figure out how to do that, as I said in previous episodes, with crypto without being a coder and tying up the funds and smart contracts and all sorts of stuff. So I was like, all right, you know what? People are used to getting refunds by debit card and so forth. So it is what it is. But someone is like, well, you know what? I really would like to have a payment option using crypto. So I was like, all right, I was searching for funnel options, if you will, if you're one of the two people that saw the tweet that I put out there saying that they really need to have Web3 funnel builders. And the solution that I ended up having was just putting a link to my social connector page, which I could go deeper into that. That could be an entire episode on its own. But there is a landing page, if you will, that's through this platform that is being built by Gary Henderson of Draft Towers NFT or Gary.club. He's building up this social platform that really competes with FriendTech, is way better than FriendTech, but there's all sorts of other options on there. You could have sales pages where you are able to accept Solana, Gary Coin, or USDC as payment. And I ended up listing it as well. It's in fiat. You can use a debit card, all this stuff. And I put a link underneath it. So that way you can have the option to pay in USDC Sol. So why is that the option? It's because that's the best way I could possibly find out, other than someone just saying, hey, let me DM you and send this money to your wallet or whatever it might be. And that is an option too. But as far as getting the information in, getting into the funnel, because the main way I am communicating to people is via email through this thing, right? There are some on-chain solutions for speaking and DMing, but it's just really not popular. ETH has it, Hive has it, and a few other chains have it as well, but it's just not as popular and mainstream. There's Telegram, Discord, all these different things. I'm not the biggest fan of Discord, but if by the time I have 100 people in this thing and everyone wants a Discord, I guess that is a route that we can go. But I just think most people have Discord fatigue, and we just see where this thing goes as we're building it out. Again, it's trial and error and throwing in some interesting things like coffee giveaways and all sorts of things. So like every 10 that comes in. So by the time I get to the first 10, then I'm going to do a coffee giveaway. Just out of the first 10, do a random drawing and send out coffee if that person wants it, of course. So anywho, going back to this thing, my whole tech stack breaking, I have all this stuff in there. I have the page up running. I have the email sequence. So as soon as someone makes checkout, it goes great. And if they decide to pay in crypto, they come back over to the funnel. And if you're not familiar, you haven't listened to the previous episodes, a funnel is just a landing page, really. It just directs people from point A to point B. And there's not distractions and all these different links to multiple web pages and blogs and YouTube videos and all that. It just gets them to the point A, from point A to point B, which is reading the information about the thing and then purchasing that one thing or opting into that one thing. And that's what this thing is. So whether you're paying with crypto or dollars and that all that stuff, it's duct taped in. And that's pretty much what we're doing right now with a lot of things in Web3, because there's no easy built-in solution. We're trying to make it easy for people that are in Web2 that don't really want to deal with all this tech. And at the same time, too, we're trying to stay true to our Web3 roots. And it's just interesting how we're putting things together. And unless you're custom building things out, it could get very messy. But here's the thing. Why take the time, energy, and money to build out your perfect solution when you don't even know if you have proofs of concept and if you have a large enough audience to actually support and make it worthwhile investing all of that into it? In the case of this, 100 people, it doesn't really make sense to build out this massive custom built thing, because at the end of the day, 100 times 97, that's not going to build that much of a massive thing. The coffee and the shipping and all that stuff is a high expense as it is. So just imagine building out a platform that's going to take forever and just get it up and running. And that is what a lot of entrepreneurs do in tech space and what have you. They get their MVP, which is minimum viable product, get the thing out the door, and then you see if it has legs and then continue to build it further. So as far as what's going on here and how I ended up breaking everything, as I said, a lot of duct taping, going from this system to that system and pasting this, trying to get the fiat on-ramp as far as the crypto and all this stuff. And I'm updating things and testing out, seeing how that headline might not look good on mobile and so forth. And I don't know what happened. Somehow I ended up copying and pasting, and it just messed up the entire funnel. That broke, and I couldn't figure out where it was. And I realized, okay, man, like now I'm really just messed up. So luckily, GPT is amazing at sifting through things, finding codes, custom and things of that nature. So I just copied and pasted the whole code in there, and I said, fix this and make it that color, put it back to this and link it to this section of the page and so forth. And within seconds, I had something that just wasn't perfect, but at least it was getting me on the right track. And as I'm testing this out now, I'm like, okay, this is not really working. I don't really like how this is right here. This is right, but it just doesn't look good. So then I just iterated on that. I just kept one little page open with the original one that spit out that was correctly. And I was making changes to that and then suggestions. And eventually, after about a half an hour, it spit back something that got to the working state that it is right now. Now, there's other tech things that I have elsewhere that's not as easy as this, but as far as the particular landing page, the custom code that I had on the page and everything, that was really solvable by GPT. Now, the thing is, when you're doing a lot of things, you might think, how am I going to ask GPT how to work with this particular platform or get the coding for this? Try to step back from whichever platform that you're using to bootstrap something. So such as myself, you might not be a coder. So you might not have the raw ability to just build something from scratch. So you might be using some sort of platform like WordPress or ClickFunnels, System.io, Kartra. There's so many different things, page builders and what have you. And a lot of them have the ability to have HTML functionality and so forth. How do you customize this for your particular needs? I found that if you find that custom HTML area or CSS, whatever it might be, and just throw it at GPT and ask it a question in a way that, okay, how can I do this? And then just throw it up there, see if it works. You probably won't get it right the first time, but it'll get you in the right direction. And then from there, you just keep iterating with the prompts that you're giving it. And that's how I was able to fix my funnel, get everything back up and running. And if you're building something, that is just a great way to do it. If you listen to episode number 476, I spoke about the NFT valuator, and how I came up with that whole thing was actually the same process which I'm speaking about right now. So I knew it was nothing groundbreaking, didn't need this massive coding thing. So I decided to just go to Chat GPT, tell it what I was trying to build, and got a rough version out. I just threw the code onto the browser, saw how it looked, and then I just kept tweaking it, and then figuring out how I wanted the points to be ranked and so forth, and how it was going to spit back the things. I started from a very non-technical idea, which was I wanted a way to rank and value these NFTs and so forth, and just have that up there. And of course, like, how am I going to code that? How am I going to build that? I know how to do design. I know how to get websites up and so forth. So I used the skill set that I had with GPT to then supplement what I'm trying to build. So what I ended up doing was I penciled it out in paper, plain English, what I was trying to build, how I want these things weighted. Then I just went to GPT to actually start to build it out. And first version, absolutely terrible. It was clunky, but it got the job done. And then from there, I just kept tweaking. And that was actually put up in one day. And again, not some groundbreaking, world-changing thing, but it was just fun. It just showed me the power, what could be done, what could be built with it in a very short period of time. So if you're ever trying to problem solve something, you have an idea, you just want to test it out, and you're like, you know what? I don't even know how to code. I don't know how to do all this stuff. You'd be surprised. If you can put up a profile in most of these, what you see, what you get, WYSIWYG builders, they're called. It doesn't take coding. It takes dragging and dropping and sliding columns and that stuff. Usually there is a section that has a custom code or custom HTML, custom CSS. Bring that to GPT and then ask it in a way, not that specific platform, but just ask it in a general way, and it can give you something that might get you 75% of the way there. And then you take that 75 and keep tweaking it and massaging it, and it'll get you to that 100. Is it really as good and smooth as like custom coding something? No, it's not. But you don't have to learn code, and you don't have to take months to do this. You can have an idea and pretty much have it up and running online by the end of the weekend. So I think I'm going to land the plane here. And basically what I'm trying to tell you is what I'm building out, what I'm testing, all of this stuff. At the end of the day, I'm doing this so I can build bigger and better things in the future. But rather than trying to get to Mars on day one, all right, let's try to get to the top of the mountain first. Let's try to then try to get above the clouds. Then let's try to get to space. Then let's get to the moon. Then let's go for Mars. Things like that. It's incremental. And it's the same thing. When you're trying to build something, you might have the most groundbreaking, this is going to end wars and poverty and whatever it might be idea. Great. Go after it. Take a moonshot. Pursue it. But as a single person or as a solopreneur that might not have all the technical skills, you might not even know where to start. Incremental. Start with the first step. Start with something and just build upon that. And that's what I think is really cool with this quote unquote AI stuff. And that's another debate in itself too. But I don't call this stuff real true AI. What we're actually using, it's like recreative tools in the sense that we're putting prompts in and we're pulling from data sets and so forth. And I think that is very cool. It saved me quite a few times, put out a few fires in my life. And yeah, I have a lot more tech fires because when I said I really made a mess of my tech stack this week, I really made a mess of my tech stack. I sent out emails that are bouncing back. I was duct taping and cleaning up my life and making it just so much more easy and streamlined. And I probably should have left certain things the way it was, but in the name of progress and being a quote unquote pioneer, testing things out new and just making it better, I ended up breaking so much this week. And it's funny because a lot of them, I didn't realize that I broke it until it was like way down the line. It is what it is. It's just the nature of the beast, testing things out, being quote unquote early into things. And so if you found this valuable, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My contact information is in the show notes. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.